make sure everything is working properly. Right. Okay, we're good to go. Poor Jennifer says she might fall asleep, but she's here. Hello, Ellie. I am so sorry you're feeling sick. That's not good, but at least you get to snuggle up in bed because it's a bit chilly at the moment. So anyway, I've got a lot of questions to get through, so we might get going. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Let me know if you cannot. All right, so first of all, I am Ness Jones. I work solely with dogs with separation anxiety or separation related distress. I have got some exciting news. So this week I got my formatted book back. Yay! So what that means is it's stopped being in a Word document and it's actually in a PDF and it's starting to look like a book. So I have to go through that, make sure everything is fine, and then I will send it back to the publishers. And then we'll actually start. I think the next step is getting a physical copy of the book. So that's pretty exciting. However, that's not why we are here. Oh, actually, what I might do though is put the link in the comments sections for anybody that wants to have a look at get onto the book waiting list. All right. Okay, questions. All right, I have got a lot of questions. So we're just going to start from the top. All righty. So Amelia says she has any tips? She dreads leaving for work. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it'll take too long. She's got a Japanese Spritz cross with a poodle, which she's called a Japoodle, which I have not heard of before. It doesn't say what his name is, but he's 7 years old, and he just gets distressed whenever she leaves him. She's tried lots of things. Okay, so she can take him out for walks. She plays with them before she leaves. She leaves out treats, food, calming music. He won't cry for about 3 minutes, so that's his window, but he's shaking. It's horrible. So he's still distressed. He's not crying. He'll start crying in 3 minutes, but he is distressed. He's shaking. And I have seen that it is really distressing. When she gets home, his food is still there, but he's immediately happy when he sees me and eats it up. She's got a dog walker coming twice a week, but she says he cries when she leaves as well. I've just invested in a toy that has a heartbeat and heats up. That is supposed to be good comfort, but any tips would be helpful. And she does say that he always had it mildly, but after COVID and also after being attacked by a larger dog, it became worse. And oops, I've lost it. He now starts shaking when I start to get ready for work. So a few things to unpack. So firstly, with the food, I don't use food with my clients with my training because I find that, as you've discovered, a lot of them won't eat the food until you come back. Some of them will gobble it up, but then they're immediately distressed anyway. So it acts as a short distraction, but then we've still got the issue. And for some dogs, it actually becomes kind of like a pre-departure cue. So food, person leaves, food, person leaves, food, person leaves. And then what happens is the dog goes, every time you get that food out, my treat out, you leave and I'm scared. So it has the opposite effect. It actually poisons it kind of poisons the food in a sense because they're just like, no, I don't want anything to do with that because every time you give it to me, you leave. So I don't use food in training for that reason, for those three reasons. Don't eat it at all till you come back, gobble it up, but still panic, or the sight of the food makes them disappear, or they get worried about that. It definitely sounds like he understands your leaving cues because he understands what it looks like when you're getting ready for work, and he's already starting to shake. Have you had a vet check, Amelia? That would be something I would probably look into. Just getting a vet check for him, just in case he's 7. But yes, unfortunately, the COVID lockdowns played a massive role with some dogs that were previously fine. before COVID lockdowns, and then they had access to mum and dad for 24/7, and then things went back to normal, and the dog was like, well, I can't cope anymore, so that doesn't help. And also that he was attacked by another dog, that's not going to help. Just in terms of his normal, everyday confidence. And hang on, I'm just having another quick read when I get home, still there. Yeah. So all the things that you've tried, you know, you've tried the food, you've tried the calming music. You don't mention whether you've tried any supplements or medication or anything. But you also doesn't sound to me like you've tried the training either. And unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's going to resolve itself without some sort of training. And because he's been doing it for quite some time now. So even if he's 7 years old, even if he was okay prior to training, COVID lockdowns, he's not now. And, the COVID lockdowns, they finished 3 years ago. So this has been going on for a long time. So my suggestion to you, Amelia, would be, I would be looking at maybe talking to a vet, seeing if he needs some medication. And I'm not saying he does. So I'm not trying to push you down that route at all. So please don't think that I am. But it might be worth having a conversation, especially if after the attack from the other dog, if he steps outside the door and he's hyper vigilant and worried, and he may just need something to get him past that sort of thing. And then a confident dog is more able to be by themselves. So you don't mention if you think he's got generalized anxiety, or he's anxious about going out or not, or he's quite robust and confident. But I would be looking at talking to a vet, or at least maybe looking into perhaps CBD oil or something like that. But there's no magic pills. Unfortunately. So any medication, whether natural or otherwise, goes hand in hand, facilitates the training, supports the training, but is not a standalone. So when I get off here, or actually I'll put it now. I'll put a link to my kind of do-it-yourself membership. It's nice. It's very well priced, and I can't make it any cheaper than what it is basically. But there it is there if you want to have a look at that. But yeah, I fear, unfortunately, that you're not going to progress. Hello, Chantel. Happy to proofread it for you. Happy to proofread it for me. I've got proofreaders. Thank you, though, Jennifer. Yes, that's very sweet. Yes, he's always had it mildly. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I think you need to do some training, unfortunately. So because it's not going to resolve itself at all if you don't. Kia says, can you pair situational meds with desensitized training, or do they make the training ineffective? Yes, you can, but it depends on the dose. So if the situational meds, and I'm assuming something like trazodone, something along those lines, yeah, you can, but you don't want the dog to be so knocked out, because some of those medications, if the dose is too high or it's too strong or something, can actually kind of knock the dog out. So that would be a magic pill if the dog's passed out, but it's not sustainable, and who wants to do that to their dog anyway? So you definitely can. They can play a supporting role, for sure, and they can facilitate the training, but I just wouldn't want the dog to be on them, all the time. Every time you go to work or go out the door, they're on medication like that, because it's not good for the body. So that's a conversation for a vet. I always say I'm not a vet, so I cannot give advice on medication, what to give the dog or what you should be looking into. It's definitely a conversation to have with your vet. But again, no magic pills. I would not expect to put a dog on medication and then voila, I can leave. So it's definitely a case of pairing it with the training. Okay, so Amelia, I hope that kind of answered your question. I know it's probably not the answer you need to hear, or you want to hear, I should say, but I feel like he needs some training, and there needs to be a conversation about what that would look like. Is there going to be medication involved, whether natural or prescribed, etc., etc. But yeah, the fact that he is literally shaking. So my dog, just a quick story. So my boy has noise phobia. So I bred him, I sold him as a puppy, and he came back to me because the owners split up and divorced, etc., etc. But the guy that had him, because he's noise phobic, when he was getting ready for work, he sent me video, and it is awful. So I know exactly what you're saying. There's a construction site next door to them, so the sound of the construction really, really freaked my boy out. And also the fact that his dad was leaving, and he's literally shaking like that. His whole body, he's got a very big mouth, very, very wide open mouth, drool coming out, hunched over, tail tucked, squished up against his dad as close as he can get, and just shaking like a leaf. Anyway, he ended up back with me, so life is good now. But he's fine to be left by himself. He's still got the noise sensitivity, but he's not next door to a construction site. So there's things like that we got to take into account. I've had a client that had a noise phobic dog, lots of construction in their area, and made it really hard for that dog to feel confident when they're by themselves. So something to think about if your dog is worried about external events. Okay. Jen has a 10-year-old dog, has severe separation anxiety, has destroyed walls. I used to have one of them. I've talked about her in my book, actually, Maya. Yes, she put holes in the walls as well. So has destroyed walls, door frames, windows. You've tried meds, CBD oil. We've seen a trainer once for consultation. We are out of ideas. Someone always has to be home to ensure he doesn't destroy a piece of the house. So Jen, he is 10, so this sounds like it's been going on for a while. Now, you said you tried meds. Now, the thing with medication is, and I hear this a lot, we tried the meds, they didn't work. And I'm not saying this is you at all, so please don't think that. But I often hear people say they tried it, but they didn't keep talking to their vet. So what happens, and this applies to us for any medication as well. And a good example of this is my mother. She was put on some sort of heart blood. She's got high blood pressure, so they gave her medications, but it was completely unsuitable for her, and she had to be swapped out for something else. Now, that happens with medications for our dogs as well. Sometimes the body just doesn't react to it the way we want. So if your dog needs meds, and again, conversation for your vet, if the first medication doesn't work, it could be a case of swapping it out and replacing it with something else. Or it could be that the dosage is incorrect and that needs to be raised, or it could be that the vet needs to add in another medication on top of the one that you've got. So there's different ways of dealing with it, but if the vet doesn't know there's an issue that the meds didn't work, they can't help you. And also remembering that some vets aren't as skilled in medicating for anxiety as others. It's like some doctors have a speciality in perhaps skin or, heart or what have you. Some vets have an interest, if you like, in diet or anxiety or something else, so skin maybe. So sometimes it's a case of, I hate to say vet shopping, but looking at the vets and going, do they actually have an understanding of medication? I'm not saying yours doesn't, and I'm not saying that you didn't keep that dialogue open with your vet, but it's something to consider if you feel like he needs to go back on it. The other thing is you saw a trainer once for a consultation, but did you do any training? So that's my question for you. A consultation, isn't really going to move you forward. I would want to actually do some actual training. So again, check out my membership. It's not going to, it doesn't sound like it's going to improve. It sounds pretty severe if he's destroying things. I'm not sure how long it's been since he's been by himself. Yeah, but I know you say we are out of ideas, but if you haven't actually done, I don't know, I don't have the information here, so you don't actually say if you've done training or you just had a consultation. So, so the training I do is about thresholds, ensuring the dog doesn't go in over the line into the panic, and doing the training under that threshold where the dog feels safe and confident, and then using gradual exposure to increase it. And it's very, very structured, gives you all the steps. You don't have to wonder what your next step is. So it could be worth actually investing in doing that. As I said, the membership program is very, very cost effective. I don't do that to make it accessible to people. So, but again, things don't improve without training. If you think about a athlete and they're trying to do a high jump, long jump, whatever it is, maybe it's trying to run 100 miles, 100 meters. I don't know. Hang on, you guys are. Oh, most of the Americans use feet. I don't know. What do you do? Do you do 100-meter races? Anyway, if you're trying to do a race under 10 seconds or what have you, or say 20 seconds, if you don't train, you're never going to do it if it's hard to do. So without the training, it's not going to improve. But I'm glad you are making sure somebody is home to keep an eye on him so he doesn't destroy the house. Alrighty, Kaylee. And if anybody is here and I answer your question and you want to chime in, please do, so I can have a conversation and maybe ask some more questions around it or what have you. Kaylee says her dog will hurt herself, scratches to the point of removing fur, bleeding, breaking nails. Wow. Also bites her paws and legs. Have tried putting a cone on her, different socks. They've tried CBD oil. I should mention about CBD for anybody listening as well. CBD you have to be careful about what you buy for your dog. So obviously you don't want too much THC in it because that's not good for them. You need a tiny, tiny, minute bit to make the CBD work. But it should also be full spectrum. And I would buy drops as you have. So a tincture. And yeah, if calming chews, they're all different. They all have different effects on dogs. But anyway, it sounds like they didn't work. So you've tried powders, plugins, calming collars, nothing helps. Don't leave her alone at home at all, or my partner stay with me. Somebody's always with her. But she gets like it if we go away for a few days and she's left with her parents. Even though there are people and dogs around, she hurts herself nonstop. Oh, that's terrible. As soon as we're back, she's her normal self again. Don't know what to do anymore. Gosh, that is a really tricky one. I would ask Kaylee if you've actually talked to a vet about this, because if she's that distressed that she's hurting herself, sounds pretty severe to me. That's not good. And perhaps I know you tried the CBD drops, but did you do it with a vet? Or I'm not saying you should do it with a vet, but did you get the dose right? Was it just once, or were you building it up in a system? Because CBD can be systemic, so it means like you might have to use it for 3 weeks, or even longer before you actually see some results, and then you still have to figure out the dose, which can be quite tricky. I'm not going to lie. Some dogs, a big dog might need less of a dose to a smaller dog, simply because of the anxiety level. So sounds, if you didn't want to go down the medication route, and I would suggest that it might be worth talking to a vet about it anyway, and just at least having that conversation, because even when she's with your parents, you're basically saying she's like that, which is, not good. And I don't know if your parents can do something with her to distract her. Like, I don't know how able-bodied or how old your parents are, but I mean, if you're leaving her with your parents, can they? It doesn't sound like if you're going for a few days, it does sound like it's an ongoing thing with your parents. But I think I'd be looking at medication, because that's terrible. If she's really hurting herself that much, she must be very distressed. So um, I'm not a big one on using medication if you don't need it. To me, just reading this, it sort of sounds like she might need it. Um, Even if it's just for the times that she's by herself, or when she's with other people other than yourself and your partner, i.e. your parents. If she's doing that to herself at your parents, I think it might be kind to try to give her some extra support, medical support. Yeah, it's a tough one, that one. I mean, you could try and get your parents to do some fun stuff with her, but they probably already do. And she sounds like she's really distressed. So, yeah. All right, Erin. My dog doesn't seem to have separation anxiety as far as being left alone. Aha. We've set up a camera. He just chills and does his own thing, sleeps. That's great. The issue is when I'm home, I go somewhere without him, specifically outside. Okay, so she lives on a really busy street. If she goes outside for any reason, he freaks out, whining like crazy, panic barking. This happens even with the rest of my family in the house. Oh, it's really sad and can be a little frustrating. He just can't be with you all the time. I know, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah, okay, yes. All right. So this sounds more like you say, he doesn't have separation anxiety if you can go out and he just sleeps. So I would put this down more to, I would probably tackle this completely differently compared to what I would with a dog that's got separation anxiety. I would be I mean, you don't mention what you've tried. So that would be kind of helpful if you could say what you've tried if you're watching this. But I would be looking at probably counter conditioning this so basically you want to go outside, there's your dog, maybe leaving a little treat and popping outside for 5 seconds, coming back and seeing how she is, she, him. Then, I mean, if you could leave him with a Kong or something, frozen Kong, and then pop out for 5 seconds, come back in, pop out for 10 seconds, come back in, and just do some counter conditioning and desensitizing him to being comfortable by himself. Doesn't say how old he is. I don't know if he's a teenager. Teenagers are often kind of get a lot of FOMO, frustration, fear of missing out. You're outside, I want to come out with you. It does sound like he's particularly bonded with you. So if the rest of the family is in the house and you're outside, is there anything they can do to distract him, like play with him, have a game with him, have some fun with him, even take him for a dawdle up the road? I know you live on a busy road, so I'm not sure how that works for you, so that's fine. But yeah, and I don't know what s'mores are. She says sometimes we like to have bonfires and cook s'mores. Um, but I don't know what they are. My American friend Kelly has told me, but I forget. I know they're some sort of yummy, is it marshmallow or something? Anyway, so I would be doing some work, some kind of training around him being comfortable without you. I'd like to know how old he is, if this is like a teenage kind of thing and he may grow out of it. I would try to get him to bond with other people so he's more comfortable with other people than if you're not there, because it does sound like this is borderline hyper attachment to you, which is kind of be a hard fix. If he is hyper attached to you, then I would get more people involved in his life, get him to bond with more people and be comfortable around more people so that you can go out with and know that he's inside. In terms of when you have your bonfires and cook s'mores, if anybody wants to tell me what a s'more is, please do. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Um, yeah, so you need to do some training around that. So I would, like I said, counter conditioning, bit of food, pop out for 5 seconds. Don't go too far to the point where he's panicked. So just literally pop out, come back in, pop out, come back in, and just do some desensitization and some counter conditioning to him being by himself. And again, none of this stuff is a quick fix. I mean, we have to go at the dog's pace. So it may take longer for some dogs than it will for other dogs. We don't know. But if we push them too much, if we keep pushing, 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 eventually they're going to go backwards. So that's why we use gradual exposure, gradual desensitization therapy to longer and longer absences without pushing them too hard that they actually go backwards, because that's not fun. Alrighty, Chantel, and I believe you might be on this call. Hello. Okay, so she can leave her dog at home and she settles in the car. But in the car she's a nightmare on arrival. Um, Yes, so she can eat in the car, we can stop in the car, but once we've arrived at the final destination, she wants out. As soon as she's out, she jumps back in. Chantel, if you're still there, how old is your dog? Because is she a young, or also what breed? Is she a working breed or what? I mean, my this sounds more like excitement, FOMO, even fear of missing out. She wants to be out and have fun. My dogs bark. My dogs are very, very noisy when I arrive at my destination, and one of them even gets um, excited about when she comes home, which is kind of silly. um, because you'd think she wouldn't want to be excited coming home. But anyway, yeah. So my point is she, so I've got Malinois working breeds. They just get excited when they get places. They start barking. They're like, oh, something exciting's about to happen. Yeah, so it may not be around you leaving, well, not as an anxiety around being by herself, but more anxiety around, okay, Star, what a beautiful name, is 5 years, mini poodle. So it could be more around, it could be more based in FOMO, fear of missing out. She wants to come with you. I can't imagine what that would be. Oh, she's an assistant dog. Ah, so that could play into it as well. Maybe she feels like she needs to be with you to assist you. Hard to know. But could you, have you tried to do any training around this? Have you maybe tried to give her a treat to quieten her down, scatter some treats in the car for her to search out, anything like that? Let's have a look. Oops, I just have to move this a sec. I've driven her around the block and back home hundreds of times. Yeah. And it's not working, obviously. So I don't know. Have you tried using some food to stop her? Um, Honestly, it could take a while. So she's got poodle in her, mini poodle. Poodles are working dogs. People, I think, I'm not saying you do, but a lot of people forget that they are working dogs. Um, and yeah, they can get, I can imagine I can imagine when you say she screams, because she's only little, I can imagine it might be quite ear piercing. Um, yes, she can't take food on arrival. Right, okay, no matter how I value. Yeah, yeah. Um, so in that case, how soon does she start screaming when you get there? So whilst driving, she will eat happily. Yeah. That's naughty. Yeah, so you need to, I would be, this is gonna, you'll probably have to break this down into little itty bitty steps, and it's going to take time and persistence and consistency on your part. So it depends how much appetite you have for this, in terms of how much energy, how invested you are in resolving this. But so when you get to your destination, I assume she starts barking maybe as you slow down or pull up or something. You'd have to sort of break it down into small parts. So waiting for her to be calm before you move on to the next step. This is probably not going to make much sense, but so you're driving towards your destination. So then you stop, calm her down, get a bit closer, calm down. It would take a long time. I think I might be wrong, but she just needs to know, like, the next thing doesn't happen till I'm calm. And I don't know, when you say you arrive at your destination, I'm unsure whether you mean she's supposed to come out of the car, or it's just she sometimes stay in the car for various reasons. Um, We can stop. We can stop for a sleep in the car, but once we've arrived at the final destination, she wants out. Yeah. I mean, once you arrive at your final destination, I wouldn't let her out till she calms down for a start. And yeah, it's very, very, it's going to be a slow process, but I wait for her to calm down before I get out. Okay, yeah. And then what happens? You get out and she starts screaming anyway. So then if that is the case, then I would open up the door, shut the door, open up the door, shut the door, open up the door, put one foot outside, shut the door, open up the door, put one foot outside, shut the door, open up the door, put 2 feet outside. You're still sitting in the car, shut the door. Do it again, repeat, repeat, repeat. Open up the door. And of course, this is all while she's calm. If she starts being a loony, like my dogs, you have to go back to square one. So you're not moving on to the next step till, yeah, it's a long, slow process, but you can do it. It just means you have to go through, the steps. So maybe it's opening and shutting the door 10 times. Maybe it's opening up. She travels on the back of the seatbelt. Yeah. Maybe, no, this is for you though. Opening up the door, putting one foot, you do that with the door, right? And then yeah. So how persistent and how consistent have you been with it? Because, like I said, it's a slow process, and it's going to take a while, I think. And then, of course, she doesn't get to come out till she's calm, and all that stuff. It's just dunga dunga dung, step step step, itty bitty steps, and the more she resists, the smaller a step. So I can get silence eventually, right? Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's separation related so much. Yeah, the next step trip's exactly the same. I don't know how often you're doing these trips, but it might be something you have to do 5 times a week or something. Not necessarily to the same, just going for a drive, doing the whole step, step, step. But yeah, long, slow process. I haven't even bothered to try stopping my dog's bark when I get to my destination, because it's just something I can't be bothered to teach, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, Jackie. Jackie says, I rescued an ex-stud dog 18 months ago. He's a Bichon, aged 5, from Romania. Been with a family, been with a family from a puppy, came to the UK when he was 2, been socialized and lived in a home. Lovely boy, apart from his separation anxiety. He's obviously used to being with his girls. I'm not sure what that, his girls, as in his lady friends. Rescue wanted him homed on his way. Rescue wanted him homed on his way, as he's very dominant. He follows me everywhere, will not stay with my husband on his own at all. Sleeps with him at night though, which is odd. I'm at home with him all day. I struggle to get even 5 minutes out of the house. Yeah. I don't know. He may be more attached to you. Sounds like he's more bonded with you. That's normal, because you're probably the primary caregiver. You're home a lot more, etc., etc. I would try to get my husband to do a little bit more, even if it's just taking him for walks, treating him, feeding him, and you can make the food up and give it to your husband. Because if you're anything like me, my husband wouldn't have a clue how to how to feed the dogs. So, but I could get him to feed them, as in I make the food up and give it to them. You so look, I have worked with dogs that have been with a breeder, and then they've moved into a home, and they're just, I don't, I'm not used to that. They're not used to being by themselves. So, a lovely boy. Yeah. So he's yeah, it does sound like he's not used to being by himself. Doesn't sound too severe. I don't know what he's doing when he has been left. So I would just be trying to do some desensitization training around him being by himself, but also getting him to bond with your husband a bit more, because we want, if then at least you can go out and he's comfortable with hubby. At the moment it's kind of hard for you because it sounds like he's a bit more bonded with you. So yeah, will not stay with my husband at all on his own. So how do we build up that relationship with your husband? Because it sounds like it's hyper attachment to you then, which is a bit more complicated. Even something like, I don't know what you've tried, but perhaps you could take him out husband can take him out for a walk. You leave while they're gone. They've gone and had some fun things, done some fun stuff together. Then they come home, you're not there. He may go looking for you, I don't know, but he may be feeling a bit more comfortable. He may not look for you as much as if he actually had to watch you leave, because a lot of dogs find that really hard, watching you leave, watching you walk out the door. And then doing some training around it. So just doing some training around leaving him. So you say you can't get 5 minutes. Well, in that case, I would probably start at even less than that and building up. So even a minute outside of the house and seeing how he goes. But I don't think maybe he's not even ready for that yet. His life's been turned upside down. I know it's been 3 years, so you've had him, but it's a completely different environment. But 3 years is a long time, I guess, since he's been with you. But yeah, you've got to build up more of a bond with your hubby, so he's not so needy of you. That's tricky because you're at home with him all day, I know, but yeah, you need to do some training, do some desensitization training. Okay. I got one more question here, and then I'll start looking at the chat again in the comment section. But I want to talk about Neva and Amani. The dog's called Amani, who is a Romani gypsy. Comes from an area in her country where there are a lot of Roma gypsies. He was found very small, had to be bottle fed in a shelter for 3 months. They were not enough straightforward with me about his character, little gangster. First time dog owner. She's done some work following the principles of Turid Rugas, and honestly, if you have not read this book, I highly suggest it. I don't know if you can see that. Hang on. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a really good book. It's called On Talking Terms with Dogs, Calming Signals. It opens up a line of communication with your dog. And it's things that dogs do that show that they're uncomfortable. And I just think, irrespective of separation anxiety, I just like the book because you can go out, take your dog for a walk, and watch their body language and have a better understanding of what they're thinking. Like maybe they see something in the distance, another dog or a person or whatever it is, and you can look at them and go, and I mean, it's all about anxiety and stress dogs. It's not all the body language, but it's definitely worth having. It's only a small book, quick and easy to read, and just really interesting. And I think it helps build the bond. So anyway, so Neva's dog Amani is now 3.5. She moved back in with her mother's because she couldn't tackle him by herself. He has never been left alone while she's away on projects. Most of the time she works from home, la la la, even a couple of weeks, which destroys all the progress. Okay. So when she goes away and she comes back, it destroys all the progress that we make. She doesn't have a job at the moment though. So she wants to invest in kind of doing some sort of training with him. But with me, his mum is different. She's, yeah, the dog's Velcro to her, always checking on her. She feels like she's not consistent enough. He sometimes tries to nip my ankles to stop me going. My mum says he protests for a minute when she does go and then he settles. So it does sound like he's more bonded with you, Neva, than your mum. You could try working on that. He also tries to nip the ankles of our friends when they want to go after spending time together. No wonder you're calling him a little gangster. And then he looks for friends and is disappointed. And how old is he? 3.5. Yeah. Okay. So his thresholds are quick to emerge. Often we do it so that when I am about to leave home, I stay. Mum takes him out for a pee. I go, come back. He looks for me. I'm not there. He settles. That's good. So it's good that you can leave him with your mother and he's not too distressed. So she says, I guess it's a combination of separation anxiety and possessiveness of me. I do realize we will have to begin at the beginning, but I'm not sure how to start. Yeah. Okay. So doesn't sound. I think the nipping of the ankles is more of a training thing. I think you just need to do some, and it sounds like you're doing that already. You're doing some training around that to try and stop that. Very naughty. And hopefully no one's got hurt, but yeah, I would just do some training around that as a counter conditioning kind of thing. Don't nip the ankles, have some food, that sort of thing. However, in terms of being by himself, yeah, it does sound like he's more bonded with you. So definitely try to get other people in his life so he can bond with them more. And then again, it's just training, just doing some stay at home training, like literally just help him learn that he can be by himself and he doesn't have to be with you constantly. Yeah, he sounds like he's had an interesting upbringing with the bottle feeding and found as a puppy. So moved in with my mother because I couldn't tackle him by myself. So he has almost never been left alone. That is the thing. So, and that is what happened with a lot of the COVID lockdown puppies. Everyone was adopting dogs. The shelters were empty, etc., etc. But those dogs came into homes and they were never left by themselves. So they never learnt to be by themselves. And that's where we've found lots of dogs are struggling with home alone time when life went back to normal. And the only way to resolve that really is to do some training around it, do some desensitization, some gradual exposure to some safe absences. So yeah. And again, as I said earlier, if there's no training, nothing changes. If we don't address something, nothing is going to change, unfortunately. So these things don't resolve themselves. Okay, now I've lost. Where is the questions? Oh, I've lost the feed. Hang on. Look, I can't find anybody's questions now. Here we are. Okay. Chantel says Turid is brilliant. She is. Yeah, she's 80 something and she's still going. It's less barking and more the distress. Yeah. It's not nice. I know. Star knows there's no chance of my letting her out of if she's barking. So once I'm out of the car, she's quiet. It's that bit in the middle where she's so distressed. I'll keep working on it. Yeah, look, that's the only thing you can do. And without seeing it, it's really hard to know if it's based on anxiety or stress, or if it's more frustration slash fear of missing out. If I don't know what sort of assistance dog she is, but maybe she feels like her role is to be by your side. And if you're getting out of the car and she's staying in it, she probably feels like she's not doing her job, maybe. Um, yeah. But all you can do is keep at it and keep working on it. Okay, now I can't see all the comments. Now that is really annoying. Amy says, for 3.5 years before my move, my dog, 4.4 years old, had no anxiety in a two 2,000 square foot home, sorry, with lots of windows. Ah, interesting. I would wake him up when I got home from work after selling and moving to a 670 square foot cottage last year. He got SA. I've been using a pet sitter to go anywhere and working with him. Oh, my lease is coming up and wondered if going back to the bigger house with lots of windows again will help him. I feel like some of his anxiety may be confinement anxiety. He loves looking out windows when at friends' homes. Yeah, Amy, some dogs do like having that view, if you like, to look out. I don't know what happened when you moved into your cottage. I mean, perhaps he was left alone too early. Whatever you decide, whether you go back to the big house with the big windows, or you move somewhere else, whatever you do, don't just leave him there. I would treat that, since you know he's had an issue now, I would treat that as okay, I've got a clean slate. There's no kind of fair history of being distressed in the new place. So that's good. But then rather than say, right, I've got to go out for 2 hours, I would be really setting him up for success. Start with your exit point, whatever you're going to use to exit, leave via that exit point, before you even do that, do some door desensitization around that exit point. So whatever your exit point is, whatever door you're going to use to leave, he should be not invested in it at all. The only time he should be invested in it is when he's coming with you. So I would make it very, very clear what it looks like when he's coming with me and when he's not coming with you. You know what I mean? So that's going to depend. That could be, you might say, be good, stay there, I'm going out. You might, have a fun phrase that you say that puts a smile on your face, but it tells him that he's not coming. Or it could be a visual cue for him, as in collar's going on, so you're obviously coming with me, or the harness or whatever you use. But if it's not, you're not coming with me. So anyway, some sort of cue, but then doing some door desensitization. So not even leaving him for a few days, but doing some door desensitization. So your exit point is really, really boring and there's no value in it whatsoever. So working on that for maybe the first week, and then actually going out for 1 minute, coming back in, 2 minutes, coming back in. If he's okay, of course, if he's not over threshold. It will be up to you to figure out what that threshold is, when he's going to start reacting, ensuring he stays under the threshold and building up the time. If you do move back into the other house, it would be interesting to know if he's fine there and it was just the cottage. And if it was just the cottage, why was it just the cottage? Was it just that he was left alone there too soon? Or was it that he maybe you went out and something scary happened? I mean, you don't know. So sometimes it could be, it's always their perception, not your perception. So it could be something like they, a tree branch fell down on the roof while you were out, made a huge scary noise, and therefore they associate your absence with something scary. You may never know. That may not have happened. It might have happened, or something else might have happened. It's their perception, not your perception. But yeah, it would be interesting to know, if you do move back into that bigger house, if he's fine magically. Again, I wouldn't go straight out and leave him. I would be doing those steps, ensuring that he was okay, kind of preventative steps rather than reactive steps. I love prevention. Prevention is so much better than fixing something once it's broken. So if we can be preventative, it's going to be a lot easier than reacting to something. Amy says he was left soon after, as I didn't know about SA. Yeah, and it is what it is. I mean, if that's probably why new place, maybe he hadn't settled in, he was unsure of it, feeling a bit unnerved, and unfortunately, um, it's been a negative experience for him. But yeah, if you move into somewhere else, whether it's the house with the big windows, and it honestly, lots of dogs like looking out windows when you're gone. Just gives them, you know, they can gaze out the window and look at the bird and the sky and blah blah blah. Um, okay, now I know there's some other comments, but I can't see them. So I don't know how to get them. I know Kelly, I can't open the comments. Hang on, let me just try and figure this out. Yeah, she's 80 something. She's still going. Aha, I figured it out. Okay. Okay, let's have a look here. He was so yeah. Aha. Okay, so it was Ellie. Okay, Ellie says Chopper does this too, anticipating what we are going to do. The barking stops once I let him out. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, mine are shocking. You don't want to be in my car when when I'm when I arrive at my destination, even when I come home. I mean, it's ridiculous. Um, but yes, I hope that has been helpful. Look, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the membership link into the chat again. Where are we here? Then I'm going to put the book link into the chat. And if anybody wants to talk to me, and you can book a Zoom call there, and that's kind of so I can see, we can determine whether the program is suitable for you or not. So get a bit more information and determine whether this program is suitable. No worries, Amy. Let us know how you go with your move. But yeah, just be mindful of taking baby steps. Don't leave them alone too quickly, and just when you do leave him alone, don't do some door desensitization around your exit point, and then don't literally leave him alone. Just go out for, if it's 30 seconds, and see how he goes, then 1 minute and 2 minutes, and just build it up and make sure he feels comfortable, because we don't want you to move and then you have the same issue all over again. That would not be good. Cool. Thank you, Chantel. I'm sorry I wasn't very helpful really, except to say you just got to keep at it. Yeah, it doesn't sound like your Star's got anxiety about being in the car. It doesn't really sound like separation anxiety. Sounds like a more of a training issue that you need to tackle, but it just might be a slow process, unfortunately, because you've tried the food and it's not working. So yeah. Again, as I said, could be the assistance dog thing, that she thinks that she needs to be with you and she's letting you know, so to speak. Amy says, absolutely, I know now and will be cautious and continue with pet sitting till he's comfy. Beautiful. Thank you, Ellie. I hope you start feeling better soon. All right, guys, take care. See you. I'm going to do this next week again. So if you have any questions, you'll be able to, I'll set it all up again and you'll be able to take part. So bye.